another episode of Who Would Win, a show that completely ignores anything important happening in the world and instead focuses on a fictional battle between characters from the worlds of comics, sci-fi, and fantasy. I'm your host, James Gavsie. As always, I'm joined by the one and only Eric Holmes. In today's episode, two of the greatest science fiction franchises ever created collide in a battle decades in the making to determine which universe truly reigns supreme. I can't believe we're doing this. This is absolutely crazy. This is insane. In one corner, rep by Eric Holmes, you've got Star Wars, the legendary galaxy far, far away, home to the Jedi and Sith, planet-destroying super weapons, the Empire, iconic heroes and villains, and some of the most powerful Force users ever imagined. And in the other corner, rep by me, of course, it's Star Trek, Gene Roddenberry's visionary future where exploration, diplomacy, and scientific ingenuity drive humanity's expansion across the stars. But guess what? They're badasses too, because they're backed by Starfleet's advanced tech, legendary captains. Star Trek also boasts powerful civilizations like the Federation, Klingons, Romulans, and the freaking Borg. As usual, I read the patented Who Would Win Google test, and this battle has been raging on since, I guess, the mid-70s when Star Wars first became a thing. Star Trek, of course, was a thing in the late 60s. And this battle of which universe is better, never mind who would win a fight, has been raging. And I mean raging online. I don't know if we'll ever get a real answer to this, but you know what? The Who Would Win show is crazy enough to try it. Eric, I gotta know, what are your thoughts on this absolutely insane, ridiculous matchup?
I am so excited that we get to do this, and I cannot wait. And to your point, I mean, Star Trek, come on, and then Star Wars. This is just going to be so fun, and it's going to be good.
Okay.
It's amazing. It's epic.
It is epic, and I also feel some pressure. So, little known fact, I think I mentioned this before, William Shatner, Captain Kirk,
of course,
and I are related. We are, I think, third cousins.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's pretty close, actually. Let's give him a call. Give him a call
right now.
Yeah, I don't think on the wire.
We're not close. We're not close, but we are officially related. He's originally from Montreal.
No way.
William Shatner, yes. Wow. And yes, I need to meet him just because I think. And in some pictures from the 60s, he and I kind of look similar. So when I'm 95, I actually will look like that, except just he's a smaller guy. I'll be a much bigger version of Shatner.
That's a good gene pool to come from.
It's not bad, right? Not bad. Plus,
very cool.
Captain Kirk.
It's Captain Kirk.
The coolest.
Captain Kirk.
Now, were you as talented as him in the ladies section? Because that man saw the whole galaxy and dated everyone.
Well, there were women who were green in northern Canada, but it was like some weird alcohol-related gangrene thing happening. Not something who's desirable to kind of approach romantically. I'm going to say no. Now, with that being said, I'm Eric, you've met my wife,
yes.
She's insanely amazing. In the marriage department, I think I kick, Captain Kirk's butt very handily because he's kind of a player and not really married, whatever. And that's totally fine. All right, listen. Okay, I know you're taking Star Wars. I'm taking Star Trek.
Yes.
But do you favor Star Wars? Like, if you had to say which one would you watch more, which one are you taking?
I'm more of a Trekkie.
You are more of a Trekkie.
Yeah.
Interesting, because I'm more of a Star Wars fan.
Right. You see how we see on the Who Will Win show how we have to challenge ourselves?
You know what I think it is? I think the production team and some of the producers, and I think Judge Tadeo was kind of laughing a little bit. Maybe it had something to do with this. I don't know.
They knew
that this is how it would have to be.
We know everything.
Yeah. But at the same time, it's like not all Star Wars. Look, if it says Star Wars, I'm going to watch it. Doesn't mean I'll love it, but if it says Star Wars, I'll watch it. Star Trek, same thing.
Right.
Both universes have had some great hits and some pretty big misses as well, but doesn't mean you still don't love both franchises. All right, let's see what our judge has to say, because when you have an epic battle taking two of the greatest sci-fi universes ever created,
special judge.
Oh my God, you need an extremely special judge. Talented judge. Someone who can wrap their minds around the enormity of what we're about to do for the Who Would Win show. No pressure, by the way, but the only person who can do this, you know how it is. Yeah. It's the one and only. It's Judge Tadeo. Judge, welcome back to Who Would Win.
Wow, I gotta tell y'all, this is gonna take me presiding over a universal battle, because remember, Star Trek has been far and beyond this galaxy. So my ruling and rendering, just like Star Wars, is gonna be heard a million light years away.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
And so I got to take this quite seriously.
There you go.
There will be some backlash to this. There's going to be some people,
hate.
right?
I might get some hate mail, honestly.
You know when you watch a great
town, might be followed around town.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. Like
Security
more
level?
than normal, right?
Yeah,
More than
more than
normal.
normal, yeah.
But here's the thing: you can watch a great football game, for example, and say, okay, my team might not have won, but what a great game, and the other team did well, and they barely won, whatever. But that doesn't work for Star Trek fans or Star Wars fanatics,
it's not enough.
right? No. We have to have. I want to and for Star Trek, by the way, I'm sorry for all the Star Wars fans out there. I'm getting a devastatingly amazing win for Star Trek with what I'm bringing to the table. Eric, I really hope you know what you're doing with this.
Well, I'm gonna give it my best, James.
Okay. By the way, fun fact, because with Canadian content laws, they want to play like Canadian television shows and all that kind of stuff as much as possible. Star Trek, the original Star Trek, was played in syndication. After school every day for like 2 to 3 episodes per time on CBC, Canadian Broadcast Corporation, throughout the 80s. Wow. Yeah, so I know the original Star Trek inside and out, which is kind of insane.
Well, that's the best one, by the way.
I still think so too. I still think so too. With what they had to deal with and the limitations, still the best one.
Flawless.
All right. But before we get to today's battle, let's go over the official rules of a who would win match. So each debater will make 3 points. Keep in mind that the who would win match is a random encounter in a neutral location with no prior knowledge and prep time allowed. The debater has to stay within the confines of the character. When it comes to determining the winner, it's the judge who has the final say and will determine which character lost based on death, incapacitation, or battlefield removal with no outside interference allowed. Remember, the bottom line of who would win match is that for one side to get the win, their opponent must be incapacitated for a minimum of 2 minutes where they pose no threat whatsoever. All right, and before we get started, we need to thank our sponsor for today's episode. Yet again, it's Comic Crusaders. If you love comics, pop culture, real conversation with the people actually making the magic happen, you got to check out Comic Crusaders. From indie legends on the rise to industry heavy hitters, Comic Crusaders pulls back the curtain and takes you inside and behind the stories. Comic Crusaders was created by the one and only Al Mega, one of the greatest minds in geek culture, who does interviews, reviews, reactions, and straight up has a passion for the culture like no one else. By the way, Al Mega is just an absolutely amazing human being. Just shout out to Al Mega. And here's the best part. Awesome. Comic Crusaders has been doing this for 20 years strong. That's not hype. That's legacy. So if you want to discover your next favorite comic, meet the creators before they blow up and when they've made it, or just vibe with a community that actually loves the culture, go to comiccrusaders.com. That's comiccrusaders.com. And now, oh my gosh, let's get ready for this. Let's just do this. Let's get to the tail of the tape for both of our combatants. Eric, please give us the details for Star Wars.
Yes. Long ago in a galaxy far, far away, the Star Wars saga tells the story of an endless struggle between freedom and tyranny, centered around the mystical force that binds all living things, from the rise and fall of the Galactic Republic to the reign of the Empire and the birth of the Rebel Alliance. The franchise follows legendary heroes and villains whose choices shape the fate of entire galaxies, home to the Jedi Order, the Sith, iconic figures like Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Emperor Palpatine, as well as legendary ships such as, yes, the Millennium Falcon, and countless Star Destroyers. Star Wars combines mythic storytelling with massive interstellar warfare across films, television, novels, comics, and games. It has become one of the most influential franchises in entertainment history. We all know this. Celebrated for its unforgettable characters, epic space battles, and timeless conflict between the light and dark sides of the Force.
Oof, that's a big universe. Even though it's a galaxy far, far away, that's still it's a universe. Let's just call it what it is.
Do it.
All right, here are the details for Star Trek. Now, beginning in the 23rd century and stretching across multiple centuries of exploration, Star Trek envisions a future where humanity has overcome many of its greatest divisions to become a founding member of the United Federation of Planets, led by Starfleet. Its mission is not conquest, but discovery, diplomacy, and the pursuit of knowledge as crews aboard legendary vessels like the USS Enterprise venture into the unknown. Along the way, they encounter civilizations ranging from the honorable yet very warrior-like Klingons and calculating Romulans to the relentless Borg and godlike entities such as the Q. Throughout its many series and films, Star Trek has explored scientific innovation, ethical dilemmas, and humanity's potential while showcasing some of the most advanced tech in science fiction. I'm just telling you, I love absolutely everything that Star Trek does. And you got to think about it this way. How much stuff do we have now? Well, how much tech do we have now that was based off of what we first saw in Star Trek? That's all I got to say. Where where are the replicators and the holodecks? Is all I'm trying to say.
Oh, nice.
Well, we do have the
those
holodecks.
I think those are coming soon.
We have those with those.
That's virtual reality. I'm talking about something we can actually touch, interact with, kind of thing. But hey, listen, we'll get there.
Okay.
All right. And now you have the facts on both. I'm going to call them opponents, both universes today. Do you have any questions before we get started?
Absolutely. How do we get the movie rights and IP for this and just make a film and make billions of dollars and also satiate the desire of every Trekkie? And what do you call people who watch Star Wars? Because Trekkies are Star Trek, but I don't know the word for Star Wars, folks. But this could be something we might need to get the IP for this ASAP.
All right. To answer your question, what you call Star Wars fanatics, awesome.
Secondly, subjective, overruled subjective.
Yeah, right. Thank you. That's just stating the obvious. Do you want some good news that's actually bad news, which would actually be good news for us?
What's that?
Well, unfortunately, the state of affairs for both Star Trek and Star Wars, especially after The Mandalorian and Grogu not doing as well as we had hoped. Still a great movie, though. I should absolutely watch it. And Grogu. The last Star Trek series getting not quite the reviews or viewership.
Really? I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. Starfleet Academy is not...
Really? I actually
I
give 2 thumbs up.
Not too greatly received. Yeah. By the way, I watched the first episode, really liked it. I haven't watched the rest of it, so we'll see. My whole point is, I think both franchises, are not living their greatest glory right now. So I think this would be the time to do something and say, hey, let's cross them over. So let's call up Disney and Paramount. Because Paramount's going to need some money soon. They're spending like crazy, right? Yes. Let's just call it what it is. All right. I hope that answers your question.
You did.
All right, Eric, and I hope you're prepared because I'm about to bring it. I know I should be repping Star Wars, you're repping Star Trek, but with my knowledge of Star Wars and what I can bring to the table, let's go. Let's see what happens. Okay, here's your point number 1.
Yes, so here we go, James. The Force is the greatest advantage in science fiction. I don't know if you knew that or not. Star Trek has incredible technology. Star Wars has something technology can't replicate. Believe it or not, it's called the Force. It is an invisible energy field that binds every living thing together, granting its users abilities that fundamentally change the rules of warfare. So Jedi can sense danger before it happens, as you know this. Sith manipulate minds. Masters like Yoda and Darth Sidious move massive objects with telekinesis. We're familiar with that as well. Darth Vader has crushed machinery, collapsed structures, ripped starships from the sky in comics such as Darth Vader 2020, and held back the pressure of an ocean while fighting beneath Fortress Vader. In Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back, Luke retrieves his lightsaber with the Force. By Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi, he projects himself across the galaxy. The Force isn't just another weapon. It's precognition, it's telekinesis, energy manipulation, mind control, enhanced reflexes, spiritual immortality. No amount of superior engineering in Star Trek has a lot of superior engineering, but it does not change the fact that Star Trek crews are still biological beings, and the Force manipulates living beings directly. Technology can be reverse engineered. The Force cannot. So that is what I feel separates Star Wars from every other sci-fi universe. And all that, James, is my point number 1 for starters.
All right, cool. So the Force is definitely something that's going to be reckoned with. But here's how I'm going to counter this. And again, the nerd knowledge is coming. First of all, not every Force user is the same, right? You've got your Darth Sidious, you've got your Darth Vader, you got your Yoda, you've got your Luke Skywalkers. And then you have a whole lot of other Force users that don't even come close. And that's some that are comparable. It just means that once you're a Force user, it doesn't mean you're an absolute badass. There's severities to it, right? But here's the other thing. I think it was mentioned that there's about 10,000 Jedi at one point, right? Let's say there's 10,000 Jedi. This is, they were purged. Let's say there's about 10,000 Jedi. 20,000 Sith, let's say 25,000 Jedi level Sith, like total, right?
Okay.
Out of a population of about 400 quadrillion. Okay, that means you're not running into Jedi or Sith on a as a typical, like you're not going outside and you're in LA and you happen to bump into a Jedi or a Sith.
Right.
Like this is a very rare occurrence, a rare being indeed. So even with that amount of people, you're going up an entire Star Trek universe. Yeah, they can move stuff, they can do things, but how much is a Jedi or Sith going to have as an effect over that vast number of people, the ships, the planets, what have you? I think it's really cool. I think in baseball it'd be the equivalent of having someone who can like run really fast to first base which is great. You really need that. They still got to hit the ball. They can still be tagged out. There's just I don't think it's quite the power you think it is when it's a universe versus universe type of battle. Interesting first place to go. I was kind of prepared for it. All right. Let me get to my point number one. My point number one, here we go. Tech wins wars. And no one has better tech than the Star Trek universe. In fact, people surmise that a lot of facets of the Star Trek universe has tech that is way more advanced for some reason than what is seen in Star Wars. All right, let me get into that. Eric, I think your entire argument is going to revolve around extraordinary individuals like a Darth Vader, Emperor Palpatine, what have you, which you should. But mine revolves around entire civilizations, right, coming together. Mm-hmm. And Star Trek's repeatedly demonstrated that its baseline technology solves problems that other franchises treat as miracles, right? Really cool. So transporters, dematerialize people across vast distances. You know who doesn't have transporters? Star Wars. Warp drive routinely crosses interstellar distances at extraordinary speeds. Well, there's hyperdrives in Star Wars, so maybe that's equivalent. Deflectors become weapons. Sensors detect cloaked ships. And there's cloaking, evidently, within the Star Wars universe. Holodecks simulate entire reality. So if you need to figure someone out, you'll gather that data and actually be able to look at it real time. And you need examples of this. On Star Trek The Next Generation, the Enterprise modifies its deflector dish almost weekly to solve impossible scientific crises the whole time. It was almost like a running joke, right? Oh no, there's a time thing happening. Let's fix the deflector shield. Oh no, there's a meteor coming at us. Deflector shield. The Borg deflector shield. It was always that freaking deflector shield. Awesome. In Star Trek, the substance called red matter threatens entire star systems, and they figured out a way to kind of take it out and deaden it. In Star Trek Voyager adapts Borg technology repeatedly despite being stranded 70,000 light years from home. Remember the Borg, that cube kind of ship, they were taking out Starfleet in its entirety. And the only reason that Starfleet had a win over elements of the Borg was because their captain, we refer to him in Canada, his name is, we call him Jean-Luc Picard. Jean-Luc Picard would actually, we called him, that's what it is in French. Yeah, Jean-Luc Picard. Anyway, he was captured by the Borg, but then got rescued and still had no understanding of how they worked. And he used that understanding to his advantage. That was the only reason they could defeat the Borg, but they did it, and they can kind of figure out how to do cool stuff like that. You've got people like Data, Geordi, Scotty, all these people who understand tech and can make magic happen. They solve impossible problems through science all the freaking time. Star Wars often asks, who's the strongest Jedi? But Star Trek asks, how do we rewrite physics?
Yeah.
Right? That's the thing. That's the difference that changes everything. It's not so much, what are we trying to do? Star Trek asks, what's the problem we're trying to solve? And they figure it out. That's my point number one.
That's good. All right, here we go. We got it rolling now, right? But the thing, James, like you broke it down. Star Trek, just pushing the envelope, creating engineering. But remember, Star Wars is also filled with geniuses who are also always creating and pushing the envelope and developing things and engineering things as well. So like the Borg has a Death Cube, right? And then Star Wars has the Death Star. So there's some things at play here.
That's a fair point. I'd rather be, on a Death Star, by the way, because they got to feed people. I bet you, by the way, Luke Skywalker destroying the Death Star. There's like janitorial staff. There's just people job, right? Like chefs. You know what I mean? I'm sure there was some accountants.
some valet guys.
Yeah, and they're just like, hey, I'm just here to make money. I'm staying back home. What is happening?
What's all this?
I didn't cause any of this. Anyway, just one of those things. For sure. You just makes you love Luke Skywalker anymore. All right, Judge today, I've heard one point from both Eric and myself. Where's your head at so far with all of this?
I mean, this is hard to wrap my head around, these parallel or different universes. But it's interesting. You made a statement. You're saying it's an entire universe with Star Trek, basically against 30,000 when you add the Jedi and Sith. So right now, the balance of power seems to be leaning towards Star Trek, but maybe Star Wars has something that I just haven't seen yet.
That's true. Let's see what I'm a little nervous with this one. Let's see what Eric has to say with this. Hey, Eric, here's your point number 2.
Let's do it. So for point number 2, nobody does galactic warfare better. That's what I like to title it. So when people imagine space battles, they're imagining Star Wars, the Death Star, the Battle of Endor, Scarif, the Clone Wars. It goes on and on. Entire fleets numbering in the thousands. Star Destroyers, Venators, Super Star Destroyers, X-Wings, Arc 170s, Republic gunships, the Galaxy Gun, Sun Crusher, and the Legends, Centerpoint Station. So Star Wars has spent nearly 50 years escalating military conflict across an entire galaxy. The Clone Wars television series alone showcases thousands of planetary invasions. The Empire commands over 25,000 Imperial class Star Destroyers. The Rebel Alliance defeats impossible odds repeatedly. War isn't a side story here. War is Star Wars is in the name. So no science fiction franchise has made galactic scale warfare more iconic. That's my point number 2, James.
I mean, that's true. They do have some amazing battles, and they're always at a state of war, even when they're not. And yeah, it's like you go to the Star Wars universe, and it's like, there's history from 10,000 years ago in doing this, whereas the Star Trek universe kind of has, from the human perspective, it's like 300 years, right? Mm-hmm. Present time to the future and 300 years from now. And with that being said, I think there's more straightforward war happening in Star Wars, but Star Trek has more ways they've had to figure out how to win the war. Whereas Star Wars is like, we go in, we overcome, we overpower. Star Trek's more like, we get in, we plant a bomb, we get the hell out of here. I think like Star Trek's more like the Navy SEAL of warfare. Whereas like, Star Wars is like a platoon of Marines. Straightforward and all that, and Star Trek's a bit more specialized, but we'll see how that works out. Let me get to my point
Let's see.
Yeah, for my point number 2. Let's talk about how Starfleet wins, because it's a thinking person's universe, right?
There you go.
Star Wars fights wars, Star Trek solves them. I've been saying this forever. The Federation survived the Borg, the Dominion, Species 8472, the Romulans, the Klingons, the Breen, Time Wars, mirror universes, not because they possess the biggest weapons is why they survive, but because they just consistently outthink stronger opponents. Captain Jean-Luc Picard defeats the Borg through strategy. Benjamin Sisko, one of my favorite captains, wins the Dominion War through alliances and calculated risk. By the way, there's no way anyone should have won against the Dominion, a warfaring race, only males, that live a short period of time, designed for warfare with advanced technology. And Benjamin Sisko is like, we just got to figure out how to beat these characters, this race. And the only way to do it, I'm going to bring warring factions, Cardassians and other cultures together, and they do it, and they put all this stuff aside, and they win. Catherine Janeway weaponizes future tech against the Borg Queen in the Voyager series finale, something you never saw before. Star Trek repeatedly demonstrates that information and technology is the ultimate weapon. Need to stop a fleet? Don't try to blow it up, just hack it. Right? That's the thing. Need to stop an enemy? I don't know. Reverse the freaking polarity. I don't even know what that means, but that's what they do on a weekly basis. Need to stop an invasion? I don't know. Let's rewrite the laws of subspace. By the way, what the hell is subspace? Is it super space? Is it subspace? Is it where Jared from Subway went once he got arrested? I don't know. That's what I'm saying. It's subspace. No one wants to go there because that's why you got to reverse the laws of subspace. Every episode of Star Trek is a freaking puzzle, and every captain becomes a master puzzle solver and a tactician. That's why Star Trek survives impossible odds, and that's why the people who win in Star Wars, their best hope is to create impossible odds, but it only goes so far. All of that is my point number. Jean-Luc Picard. That's my point number 2.
So how did you guys come up with that name?
Okay, so the big debate during that time, oddly a precursor to who would win, is who is the better captain, William Shatner or Jean-Luc Picard. And a lot of people were like in Canada, were like, oh, well, it's Jean-Luc Picard, c'est un nom français, it's a French name and everything, but it's a guy with an English accent, whereas William Shatner is from Montreal.
No,
there you go. So all these people from Quebec and across Canada were like, that guy's a badass. And I actually had a fun debate in my first company I worked at, and proved why William Shatner, Captain Kirk, would beat Jean-Luc Picard.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's a term of disrespect.
No, I picked that up.
Although, by the way, Jean-Luc Picard is awesome. Just putting that out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jean-Luc Picard.
So with one thing I'm saying with Star Trek is there's a bit of an arrogance there in terms of like, constantly blindsided, where there's not a lot of preparation, if you will, unlike Star Wars. Calculated, right? Always trying to figure out.
Are you referencing like the Clone Wars and all that kind of stuff where they create armies, like insane armies?
Just one up.
Right,
I just figure like in Star Trek, a lot of ambushes, right, where they're caught off guard, and obviously they have to be tacticians in those situations, constantly tacticians. So I feel that with Star Trek is like there's not a lot of prep work going on, and in Star Wars, that's like a big part of being prepared, being calculated, in my opinion.
That is not untrue. Now that you're triggering all these memories of like Star Trek where they're like, okay, let's explore this part of space. We don't know what's there, so we should just go and explore it. And all of a sudden they're caught completely off guard, trapped or something, and they got to figure their way out. Whereas Star Wars is more like, no, we're going in with like 1 million clone troopers or stormtroopers, and we're just going to overrun whatever the heck that is.
Right.
That is not wrong. Okay, but it doesn't matter what you and I think, Eric. It's up to what the judge has to say. Not at all. For anything. Like nothing.
Right.
All right, but it's up to the judge. Judge today, we're at the turning point. This is where you tell us who you think is ahead and what does the other side have to do to get the victory.
Well, Eric's been sharing that Star Wars is actually Star Kings when it comes to the space battles. However, you know, we've seen strength like brawn without brains, and that doesn't always win. So Star Trek, conversely, it's the brains of the universe. So I'm really, it's a tough one so far, but I'm kind of leaning towards space battles because that's where the encounter would occur.
Space battles. Well, so wait, I don't understand.
So space battles.
Of course, it's a space battle. So what is it? Star Wars or Star
Trek?
Trek?
It's Star Wars, because since he said they're king of space battles. That's
okay.
awesome.
So Star Wars is ahead.
A smidge.
You know what? I just pulled a Star
great.
Trek where all of a sudden I'm caught blindsided by what the judge had to say. I'm like, wait, what? Yeah. Now I got to catch up.
I wanted to make it cryptic. It was an encoded message.
You got to keep up with
You know what
Tadeo.
it is? That's where
Genius.
like subspace. That's for subspace where that happens. Okay. Gene Lucy Pissard. All right, let's see. Eric, what you got for your point number 3?
Here we go. Yeah, so I would like to get into the greatest victories in galactic history. So if we're judging an entire fictional universe, real for some, fictional for others, then we have to ask one question. Who has won the biggest battles, a nod to our judge here, I would call them wars, but we get it, against the greatest enemies. So Star Wars has no shortage of answers to that question. Let's start with the Clone Wars. This wasn't a battle. It was a galaxy-wide conflict spanning thousands of star systems, millions of soldiers, and countless fleets. The Palpatine secretly controlled both the Galactic Republic and the Confederacy of Independent Systems, orchestrating a conflict that destroyed the Jedi Order, ended a 1,000-year republic, and replaced it with the Galactic Empire. By the end of Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, nearly every Jedi had been eliminated through Order 66, and Palpatine had conquered an entire galaxy through military strategy, political manipulation, and overwhelming force. Then comes the Galactic Civil War. The Rebel Alliance, vastly outnumbered and under-equipped, defeats the Empire, arguably the most powerful conventional military in science fiction. The Empire commanded tens of thousands of Star Destroyers, the Death Star, the second Death Star, legions of stormtroopers, and Darth Vader himself. Yet victories at Yavin, Hoth, Endor, and ultimately Jakku dismantled an empire that ruled millions of inhabited worlds. The Yuuzhan Vong War from Legends raises the stakes even farther. Yuuzhan Vong invaded from outside the galaxy with biotechnology completely immune to conventional tactics. They conquered and killed trillions, destroyed entire planetary ecosystems, and nearly wiped out galactic civilization. Only a coalition led by, yes, of course, Luke Skywalker, the New Republic, remnants of the Empire, Jedi smugglers, and countless alien governments finally defeated them after years of catastrophic warfare. And in canon, the Final Order of Exegol united virtually the entire free galaxy against Palpatine's hidden Sith fleet, thousands of Zyston-class Star Destroyers, each equipped with planet-killing super lasers. Civilian fleets from across the galaxy answered the call, destroying the Final Order before it could begin another reign of terror. Every era of Star Wars ends the same way. The galaxy faces extinction, the enemy seems unbeatable, and somehow Star Wars wins. And all that, James, is my point number 3.
How dare you? How dare you?
Here we are.
Okay, so first of all, remember, you're not talking to just any nerd. You're talking to
James.
Yeah. Wow.
Yes.
I have spent a lot of time reading this. I'm starting to regret some of my life choices. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make here is you're trying to sneak something in from Legends. And Legends is this whole Star Wars continuity that's no longer part of Star Wars continuity. That is now non-canon ever since Star Wars was purchased by Disney, and they relaunched Star Wars, not relaunched, but kind of put it in its own destination, its own thing. The Yuzon Vong War, that's from Legends. That's not part of Star Wars continuity. That has to be officially taken off because that's not part of the version of Star Wars. Sorry. That would have been great, by the way, because that's a definite Star Trek type thing. And also, I just hate you now because you also brought in something from the sequels. And if we all know anything, it's that the sequels should become non-canon, retconned, and don't actually strengthen Star Wars. The sequels actually weaken Star Wars. That's all I'm going to say about that. And that is a common consensus.
All right.
That's what I said, Gene Lucy Pisser. All right, here we go. For my point number 3, I'm going to just talk about how the Federation has defeated the greatest existential threats in science fiction. Yeah, I said it. So Eric's examples, they're impressive because it's Star Wars and it's awesome. But Star Trek's greatest victories, they're not just simple military triumphs like you see in Star Wars. They were victories against civilizations that threatened the survival of the Federation and sometimes all intelligent life everywhere. So we'll start with the Dominion War. And the Dominion War wasn't just another empire. It was a massive interstellar superpower from the Gamma Quadrant ruled by this group called the Founders, backed by genetically engineered creatures called Jem'Hadar soldiers. And they were bred solely for combat. And this really cool, what's called a Vorta command structure. They just knew it was an honor. Like they were like, hey, we're going to keep fighting until we die. That's all we're meant to do. It's kind of this weird thing. Anyway, they allied with the Cardassian Union, fielded enormous fleets, captured major Federation territory, and came within striking distance of Earth itself. What stopped them? Leadership. That's it, leadership. Captain Benjamin Sisko united the Federation, Klingons, Romulans into a fragile alliance, while commanders like Admiral Ross and Martok coordinated one of the largest military campaigns in Star Trek history. All I'm saying is they won because they all came together. You know what you don't see in Star Wars happening a whole lot? People coming together, right? You know, there's the Empire, that's cool, but they're forced to do it under very strict leadership. The rebels are kind of ragtag. Maybe they go under Princess Leia or whatever, but they're nowhere near as like a cohesive kind of group. They have to hit and run guerrilla warfare tactics, etc. Not the case for Star Trek. There's the Borg Collective. Unlike traditional empires, the Borg don't conquer worlds, they assimilate them. So entire civilizations disappear overnight. Their populations transformed into drones. At this one battle, it's called the Battle of Wolf 350 or 359. A single Borg cube annihilated 39 Starfleet ships in one of the Federation's darkest defeats. Most of the civilizations would never recover. Instead, Starfleet adapted, and we saw how the Borg launched a direct assault on Earth. And then you guess it, Captain Jean Lucy Pisser, Jean-Luc Picard, and the Enterprise E stopped the invasion and the temporal incursion. They changed time, and they actually changed time back. You know who doesn't change time a whole lot? It does happen once in a while, mind you. But you know who doesn't change time a lot? Things in Star Wars. Just putting that out there. Okay. Species 8472, they made the Borg scared of them, and the Borg were the biggest badasses of Star Trek. And it was Captain Janeway of Voyager who engineered a weapon capable of forcing species 8472 to negotiate and accomplish something the Borg just couldn't do. There's just so many examples of people in Star Trek saying, great, we got a common enemy, let's come together. And they team up to face off against the bigger, most disastrous type of enemy coming at them. Whereas Star Wars, I think it's more like the Empire and a ragtag group of people in the rebellion who try to resistance, who try to fight back. It's not the same thing. Star Wars doesn't have the same unison kind of factor that Star Trek does, right? Their victories aren't defined by who has the biggest fleet or most firepower. They're defined by overcoming enemies that stronger civilizations couldn't beat on their own. And again, Starfleet wins because it combines courage, science, diplomacy, and strategy in ways no other universe can, especially Star Wars. All of that is my point number 3.
James, you did a rather good job repping Star Trek. I'll give you that. All right, that I will give you. But the only thing, to your point with Star Trek, is that they do come together, but it takes them more time, it seems like, for them to finally come together, given the task on hand that they need to fight against, right? Star Trek. On the other hand, in Star Wars, large fleets, when it's time, they're attacking, they're unified, they're marching, they're in order, and they're destroying. So I feel that that's the imbalance there versus Star Trek versus Star Wars.
Oh, Jesus, that's interesting. So you're saying like in Star Trek, because this is true, when the Cardassians are like,
and
Benjamin
not the
Sisko,
Kardashians for our new
not the
fans.
Kardashians,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's fair. They come together pretty quickly, right? They're a unified team right away. So that family unity. But no, here's the thing. I have seen examples, yeah, and that just might be television writing to increase the drama. But the facts are facts. It does take a while for Klingons to come on board with, Starfleet and be like, hey, we need to put aside our differences. Let's talk about it. Okay, finally, we're going to do it 4 episodes later. That's a fair point. But again, it doesn't matter what you and I have to say about this. Let's go to Judge Tadeo.
We got to hear from him.
Okay, Judge Tadeo, this is the most epic matchup we've ever had. The stakes have never been bigger. It's now time for you to take us through your process. Tell us a story, if you will, and tell us who wins this battle between Star Wars and Star Trek.
I'm going to take this back to pre-Jean Picard. We're going to go to the original Star Trek. So we have our Canadian, all right, leading the plight and the conquest to know the world, get to know the woman, and enjoy it. So in this epic universal battle, it's going to be interesting because the captain is going to encounter first and foremost the Jedi, and he's going to hit it with that deep voice, lean into the camera, and can you give me his voice?
Yeah. I don't know who you are.
Okay, excellent. Just like that.
Oh my God.
He's going to freeze.
Awesome.
The Jedi are going to be confused and perplexed because they're wondering, is this man a warrior? Is he a mind tactician, or what's going on? Because they see his phaser and they know they have their lightsaber, and when they pull it out, all of a sudden he quick draw reaches for his weapon as well. It's in stun mode, by the way. And as it fires and it hits the lightsaber, ching! All of a sudden they kind of offset one another, and it's kind of like the red matter that the Star Trek universe has worked on so long to keep quell and not allow to destroy everything in life. Well, at this point, boom, I'm going to have to render for the first and only time a mistrial. Because I got to tell you, I can't see how this plays out any other way.
Whoa.
But so if you look at it and we compare it a bit, you've got the Borg, which is one of the most epic villains or races that assimilates you. But you've also got the Death Star with the Emperor, who doesn't even have life. He's so evil. So those kind of offset one another. And then you have Jedi and Sith, but you also have the best technology that is actually what fuels our lives today, like 70 years later. So I just don't see how and when anybody has an advantage. I mean, you have Princess Leia, who's beautiful, but the captain, he was also wooing woman. So I just have to say that at this point, they nullify one another. And I just can't go anywhere for the first time. Can't render a decision.
Wait. We have discussed this before, Judge Tadeo. Let me pull the curtain back a little bit.
Yes.
This is no. We've never had a tie on the Who Would Win
Never.
show. We've never had a tie. So I'm going
That's
to.
what I was like surprised.
I know, right? So hold on. Like this is. Are you okay? Before you say what you're going to say, realize this is never been done.
Correct.
This. You really should be able to make a decision from this. What's your gut telling you?
I got to be honest. It's almost unconstitutional. And it's the 250th birthday of America. But this, I've tried every way to render a decision, and I just can't. I'm at an impasse. It's just like a split jury, like 6 and 6.
Here we're talking about.
And I usually like to share my opinion because it's what matters.
Yes.
But I cannot ethically lean and render a ruling at this point. I just can't.
James. So, our honorable Judge Tadeo, are you saying that we have a tie for the first time ever from your judging?
Ever. And I know for a fact it's not happening again. But this is just...
All right, so you know what? Hold on, guys. All joking aside, I don't accept it. I don't accept. I'm sorry.
Are you appealing to a higher court?
I don't know. Okay, well, I'll tell you. Okay,
what court are you appealing to? I'd like to know.
I'm just saying, like, do you need to hear? Is it a matter of that you need to hear more?
Oh, okay. I understand.
Which I'm fine with.
Yeah, I've got more points.
I gotta be honest with you. Yeah. If somebody could find something to sway me, then I'm right here. I'm always on the bench, in my robe and cloak, ready to render a decision.
Okay, hold on. So, Eric, let me ask you a question. Here's the deal. When I was doing the research for this, the hardest part for me was only coming up with 3 points.
No,
Okay?
for sure.
Okay. So let me ask you something. This is the first time ever on Who Would Win? We have a tie. I don't accept a tie. I'd rather lose than say, it's a tie. I don't like it. Here's what I propose.
Well, I show up to win, James.
I know it. I gotcha. I guess we're on the same page. I'm going to propose something. I don't know if you're down for it. Let's keep going. Let's do another episode. Let's make it like, okay.
Wait. So we're doing World Cup?
I don't know.
Hold on. So the World Cup is on the USA, Canada, and Mexico. So it's on North America, correct?
North America.
So we're going into basically World Cup in honor of Salute World Cup. What we could do is go to overtime. And basically, billions of people are watching the World Cup, probably millions. One day, billions will be watching us too, correct?
Yes.
So in the same fashion, what I propose is we go into overtime. And in overtime, the way it is in soccer, in football, rather, football, you have 2 quarters. In this one, we're going to have 3 opportunities, once again, to delve into your knowledge base and try and convince me that you win. But remember, this is sudden death, so somebody will win and somebody will lose at this point.
I'm ready to do one more.
Yeah,
Okay, but then you have to guarantee us. Hold on, today.
Okay, tell me the
me
sudden
being
death.
serious. You got to guarantee us that you can come up. You'll come to a decision.
The point I'm gonna make, he's gonna have a decision.
I'm going to. This is the World Cup. Somebody has to move forward and somebody has to go home. I'm sending somebody home.
All right, Eric. What do you say to this? Are you okay with this? Are you? Because I'm raring to go.
Let's do it.
Okay. All right. Fine. Then you know what? For the first time ever, we have a continuation from this episode. Our next episode will be a continuation of Star Wars versus Star Trek.
Boom.
I feel great about it. Eric, you're cool with this?
Let's go.
I'm reared up. Sorry, Coach Dale, Judge Dale, my apologies. I did not mean to get so kind of emotional with you for a second.
I understand. I understand the passion.
You got to fight for, and I'm not fighting for a tie.
I'm here.
Whatsoever. All right, guys. So, Eric, tell the Legion of Audience, our fan base, how they can find you online.
Yes, at the THE Eric with the C Holmes, HOLMES. Let's connect and get ready for the next battle, people.
All right, Tadeo, Judge Tadeo. I don't want to call him Coach.
Yeah.
Judge Tadeo, tell us where we can find you online as well.
You can find me online at Cuerpazo, and always rendering decisions of goodness, greatness, and fun in Beverly Hills.
All right, you can find me on X, aka Twitter, and Facebook by typing in at James Gavsie. Find me on Instagram at James Gavsie MMA. You can also find us on Instagram, Threads, and TikTok at Who Would Win Show. Don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube by going to at Who Would Win Show. Yes, that's right. Our podcast is only on YouTube, at least for now. On behalf of myself, Eric Holmes, Tadeo, and the rest of the amazing Who Would Win production team, thank you once again for checking out another episode of Who Would Win that will be continued into our next episode. I can't believe we're doing this. We'll see you next time.